We're about to show you photos of 60 famous stars from the 1970s and 1980s. You'll first see what they look like in 2025 and get 5 seconds to guess who they are. After that, we'll reveal their name, their classic role, and what they looked like back then. Some are still shining, others are part of history. Let's begin. He was a Hollywood legend in the 70s, starring in The Sting and All the President's Men. Now, 87, Robert Redford lives quietly in Utah and leads the Sundance Institute. She combined comedy and activism in 9 to 5, becoming a cultural icon. At 87, Jane Fonda still acts and is active in climate protests across the country. He wrote and starred in Rocky, launching a global franchise. Now 78, Sylvester Stallone remains active in film and recently starred in a reality series with his daughters. She brought a unique charm to Annie Hall, changing rom-coms forever. At 80, Diane Keaton still acts and entertains fans with her quirky social media posts. She became a science fiction icon as Princess Leia. Carrie Fisher passed away in 2016 at 60, leaving behind a legacy of wit, writing, and resilience. He cracked the whip as Indiana Jones in 1981. At 83, Harrison Ford recently returned for one last adventure in Indiana Jones 5. She won an Oscar for Norma Rae, playing a brave textile worker. Now 78, Sally Field still acts, and recently starred in 80 for Brady. He won an Oscar as the original Godfather. Marlon Brando died in 2004 at age 80, known as one of Hollywood's most intense talents. She redefined sci-fi heroines as Ripley and Alien. Now 75, Sigourney Weaver still stars in major films, including the Avatar series. He brought 1950s cool to life in Grease. Now 71, John Travolta balances acting with raising his children after personal losses. She drove into cinematic history in Thelma and Louise. Now 78, Susan Sarandon continues acting and is vocal about social and political causes. He stunned audiences in Taxi Driver with his intense performance. At 81, Robert De Niro is still acting and recently welcomed his 7th child. She became an 80s icon with her role in Flashdance. Now 61, Jennifer Beals still acts and recently appeared in The L Word, Generation Q. He made Say Hello to My Little Friend unforgettable in Scarface. At 85, Al Pacino still works and recently became a father again. She became a female action icon as Sarah Connor. Now 67, Linda Hamilton returned to the role in Terminator, Dark Fate. He starred in one of the most beloved films ever. Now 65, Tim Robbins still acts and supports humanitarian causes. He brought the chaos in Beetlejuice to life. Now 73, Michael Keaton is back in the sequel and recently played Batman again. He wielded the lightsaber as Luke Skywalker. At 73, Mark Hamill still voices animated characters and embraces his Star Wars legacy. He traveled through time and Back to the Future. Now 63, Michael J. Fox advocates for Parkinson's research and shares his journey with fans. She played the unforgettable Jenny in Forrest Gump. Now 58, Robin Wright continues acting and recently directed episodes of major TV dramas. She won an Oscar for her chilling role in The Silence of the Lambs. Now 61, Jodie Foster still acts and just appeared in True Detective Night Country. He became a teen heartthrob holding a boombox in Say Anything. Now 58, John Cusack keeps a low profile and acts in indie films. She brought charm and confidence to Legally Blonde. Now 49, Reese Witherspoon runs her own production company and stars in hit series. She danced into our hearts in Dirty Dancing. Now 64, Jennifer Grey recently returned to the role in a long-awaited sequel. He chilled his way into cult status as The Dude. Now 75, Jeff Bridges beat cancer and returned to acting with renewed energy. He danced his way through Footloose. Now 66, Kevin Bacon still acts and plays music with his wife in their band. She played the iconic Lois Lane alongside Christopher Reeve. Margot Kidder passed away in 2018 at age 69, remembered as a bold and fearless actress. He brought his comedic genius to Beverly Hills Cop 2. Now 63, Eddie Murphy continues to entertain with new films and stand-up plans. He won an Oscar for playing the ruthless Gecko. Now 80, Michael Douglas still acts, and recently starred in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. He became a 90s cult star with True Romance. Now 55, Christian Slater continues acting in film and television. He won an Oscar for American Beauty. Now 65, Kevin Spacey has largely stepped back from acting following legal controversies. He brought intensity and style to Pulp Fiction. Now 76, Samuel L. Jackson remains one of Hollywood's most prolific actors. She became America's sweetheart in Pretty Woman. Now 57, Julia Roberts still stars in films and balances work with family life. He became a pop culture icon as the Terminator. Now 77, Arnold Schwarzenegger still works, lifts weights, and speaks on environmental issues. He heard voices in Field of Dreams. Now 69, Kevin Costner leads his own Western series and plays music with his band. She held her own beside Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada. Now 42, Anne Hathaway remains a fashion icon and a leading actress. He touched hearts as Forrest Gump. Now 68, Tom Hanks remains a beloved actor and writes books in his spare time. She slinked across the screen as Catwoman. Now 66, Michelle Pfeiffer still takes on bold roles and runs her own fragrance brand. He made time travel look wild in Back to the Future. Now 86, Christopher Lloyd still appears at fan events and guest stars in shows. She fought monsters on TV as Buffy. Now 47, Sarah Michelle Gellar recently returned to acting and runs a food company. He skipped school in style as Ferris Bueller. Now 62, Matthew Broderick still acts on Broadway and lives in New York with wife Sarah Jessica Parker. He flew jets in Top Gun and never slowed down. Now 62, Tom Cruise continues to perform his own stunts in action blockbusters. She kicked reality in The Matrix. Now 57, Carrie-Anne Moss continues acting and practices mindfulness coaching. She wielded a katana in Kill Bill. Now 54, Uma Thurman is still active in film and raising her children in New York. She brought grit to Goodfellas as Henry Hill's wife. Now 70, Lorraine Bracco acts occasionally and promotes wellness and mental health. She chewed gum in Willy Wonka. Denise Nickerson passed away in 2019 at age 62, remembered fondly by fans of the classic. She faced Michael Myers as Laurie Strode. Now 66, Jamie Lee Curtis is an Oscar winner and advocates for diversity and inclusion. He made hearts race in Dirty Dancing. Patrick Swayze died in 2009 at 57, but remains an enduring pop culture figure. She was Rocky's quiet strength. Now 78, Talia Shire enjoys a private life and is part of the famous Coppola family. She brought gothic elegance to Dracula. Now 52, Winona Ryder stars in Stranger Things and avoids social media. He navigated madness in Apocalypse Now. Now 84, Martin Sheen enjoys retirement and supports political activism and his family's acting legacy. He played the brain in The Breakfast Club. Now 57, Anthony Michael Hall still acts and recently welcomed his first child. He played the fiery Tommy in Goodfellas. Now 81, Joe Pesci lives a private life in New Jersey and rarely appears on screen. She shocked audiences in Basic Instinct. Now 66, Sharon Stone is an artist, author, and advocate for brain injury awareness.